come in. My name is Devinder. I'm one of the community managers at AI Camp. And we really appreciate almost 150 of you here today. So I'm going to do a couple of the things that we do just to get them out of the way. The number one is if you want to check in with this QR code, is more of a housekeeping thing. I'm going to give that about 30 seconds. While you're doing that, I just want to introduce that we have new volunteers. I think just yesterday, Asako started, and Isaac started today unofficially. I'm going to clap for them. We're always looking for volunteers. I'm a volunteer myself. We try to do events like this. You get to learn something. I enjoy doing it because there's a people aspect, and I also do a lot of teaching around AI, so it's fun. All right, the next page, if you missed it prior, this was on the screen for a while we were kind of getting ready. This is for a raffle today. What's going to happen is you're going to go to this QR link. You're going to either comment on that LinkedIn post or repost it. Bill in the back, who's running the show, is going to generate all of the names, and around 7:30, he's going to send me all of them, and I'm going to do like a randomized wheel thing on him. And then one of you will win AirPods. I'm going to give this a few seconds too. Just a quick check. Everyone in the back, you guys can hear me? The back row? Yes? Perfect. Thank you. All right. So AI Camp is, what is it? It's a community of global developers focused on AI. We're now at over 450,000 members around the world, 150 plus countries. I didn't know there were that many countries. I knew it was like 100 plus. That's pretty good. Okay, and yeah, we have events like this that are in person. We're running a bunch of other types of events. Like in the beginning of January, we started this agent learning group. We also have a lot of more basic level things like what kind of tools you might want to use. There's like a bunch of options. How do you pick the right one? We have much more deep, focused, 1 month long deep learning classes that are happening online. So if you see our Discord and our Slack, you'll be able to sort of funnel your way towards those. And we have so many events, guys. It's like you just have to pick the ones that you're most interested in and what brings you the most value. Okay, and yeah, we're all over the place. We're here today. We had an event yesterday, and then we're gonna have one, I think, on the 30th in South Bay. And I believe that's with NVIDIA. Already asked you guys to join. Yeah, submit topics to speak. We're always looking for that. We have sponsored things we do, and we have unsponsored things we do. And even at the end of this event, when we're done with the talks, what we really like to do is have a couple of companies or folks come up with just their projects, like tiny little. You don't get the whole 30 minutes, but you get like a few minutes to present. If you're hiring, if you're looking for a job and you're feeling strong, come up and talk about yourself. We always try to make time for that. Hopefully we'll have some today as well. And if you have events you want to collaborate on, that's the email, info@aicamp.ai. All right. Okay, I didn't even need to tell you. Yeah, this is a list of the upcoming events. In case anyone's interested in taking a quick snapshot. And those are the virtual things I was talking about. Yeah, and that's the link for Discord in case anyone's interested in Discord. I'm on the Discord at least a couple times a week answering questions if you have any. Devinder Sodhi, my first last name. Yeah. But you'll see me on there. I meddle. All right. So obviously, thanks to our sponsors, GitHub, for letting us host here. aiXplain, who's with one of our own, Sonam today, and Incorta. I believe we have Ebrahim from there. They're responsible for the pizza, guys. Thank them. All right. Many of you might know Sonam. She's going to be presenting actually today for aiXplain. And then we, of course, have Ebrahim afterwards. Actually, Ebrahim, you're up first, right? We have Ebrahim first. Apologies. And then Sonam's going to be presenting. And I think we can get started if you want to come up. So Ebrahim is going to talk about Incorta. And I think he's going to give you a better intro than I just did, guys. Let's get it.
Okay, so I'll probably need the okay.
Just slightly so we can fix this in. There we go. Good. And
So this one, right?
yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah. She's watching, so he knows. Kyle's always watching.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Okay, here you go. My name is Ebrahim. I'll be presenting a little bit about Incorta, but literally about how we baked or waved GenAI in production into our products. And we'll talk about the entire analytics stack, all the way from data collection to, visualization and machine learning. So a little bit about myself, principal machine learning engineer at Incorta, joined Incorta about a year and a half ago. I'm leading their Nexus product, which is their main GenAI offering for our customers. Happy to be presenting today with aiXplain, which is one of our very important partners. And we will talk hopefully during the presentation about how we're doing this collaboration. But some of our customers is, for example, Broadcom, Netflix, Skechers, and so many others, as you can see on the screen. These people ingest daily a lot of data. We're talking about petabytes of data. We have Broadcom, for example, is using aiXplain as their, using Incorta, also aiXplain, somehow, in their, so the Broadcom is using aiXplain as their, Incorta as their main analytics platform, all the way from data ingestion to data generation, or to data visualization. We know some of the stats. GenAI is big. I don't have to go really deep into this, but this is, I was in IDC conference in Saudi Arabia, and they were talking about $632 billion in spending by 2028 for for AI in general, and about $200 billion of this is just for GenAI. So it's really transformational. When we talk about BI, it's a whole stack. At the end of the day, when people talk about BI, they're looking for one thing. They're looking to get value out of their data. It doesn't matter how. The problem is it's very complex to ingest the data. It's very complex to process the data. It's very complex to get a value out of that data. The question usually comes from the business people. They ask the question, they're looking for an answer, and then it trickled down all the way to the business analyst and to the data engineer. So if we look at the personas when it comes to BI or analytics in general, we're looking at the data engineer, the BI analyst, the business user, and finally the data teams. We're not going to focus on the data teams, but we'll focus on these three, and how GenAI is actually impacting each one of these, and how we at Incorta have use GenAI to actually automate most of the work of some of these users. For the data engineer, their job is usually to look for the data from multiple sources. And we're talking about big systems here. I'll focus on the operational data. And of course, we also ingest unstructured data, but I'll focus on structured data. And when I say structured data, I'm talking about tabular data. But for data engineers to do their work, they need to find these sources. Sometimes if it's a big company like Broadcom, they'll have tens of systems that they're using. And then say, for example, SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, and then within these files or within these systems, they ingest hundreds of tables, and then they have to normalize them and make them ready for the BI analyst. And the BI analyst here comes and create these dashboards and make them ready for the business users to consume. The business user is usually the initiator of the question, the person who asked the actual question. But for the business user, what happens is sometimes they get their intent get lost in the translation as they request the BI analyst to create the dashboard and the BI analyst to go all the way back to the data engineer to create that data. They don't get their things solved sometimes, their insights they're looking for solved for them. Not only that, sometimes after they create the pipeline for them, after the pipeline is created for them for that question, if the question changed somehow, they have to go back and redo the entire pipeline again. And what GenAI is promising is to actually, when the business user is asking the question, GenAI is actually, so a lot of tools, before I go to the GenAI, a lot of tool has been created for, especially for BI analysts and business user, and a lot of no-code, low-code platform have appeared. And statistics show that only 35% of these tools are actually adapted. In the last 7 years before GenAI, these tools have been out there, but only 30% of it is actually adapted. The problem is it's very hard. The business user is not in the mood for going and exploring these tools to actually try to answer the question. They just need to get the insight. That's what they're looking for. And when it comes to the BI analyst, now with GenAI, when the business user is asking the question, now you're able to take that question, understand the intent of the user. Since you own the entire pipeline, if you automate the entire pipeline all the way from ingestion to visualization in this case, or to machine learning, you should be able to get the intent, go and find the right sources of data for this particular question, and then serve the answer back in a form of dashboard, for example. And let's see how is that done. So this is just a brief history how things have been working. Back in the days when people say self-service, they're talking about having a dashboard and looking at it and not literally do anything. And then around 2012, when people say, flexible dashboard, then they're able to actually filter or edit these dashboards. When people say in 2018, they're able to discover from the dashboard that literally are able to drill down into some of these components in the dashboard. And what GenAI is actually promising is to discover everywhere. Just put your question in a natural language and get a greater value out of your big data. Before I move in, any questions so far? I like to be interrupted, so if you have a question, please raise your hand so that it's an interactive session. Okay, so let's examine the landscape of GenAI in production today. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to ask, is this in any way like adjacent to Pinecone and like other databases that are?
So Incorta, I'll talk about Incorta in details when I come to that section, but you can, it's an end-to-end data analytics and platform. So think about it as Fortran, Snowflake, or data that,
I see.
and then Power BI or Tableau. So the whole stack.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when we examine the GenAI landscape today in production, and I'm not talking about, that cool YouTube, demo. We're talking about production here. Usually it's number one, use case is code generation, and GitHub probably is the most known, platform for that. A lot of chatbots and visual agents are emerging, and also auto generation of visualization and dashboard. And at the end, of course, apps and automation and workflows. The problem is, especially for auto generation of visualization and dashboards and the agents, if the company is not owning, or the analyst or whoever is developing that technology is not owning the entire stack, it'll be hard to get a meaningful production system. So why only 5% in production today? Only, when you examine GenAI, and this is coming from Gartner, only 5% is in production. Number one is lack of detailed and trusted data. And number two, it's very difficult to deploy. Lack of security. Nobody wants to send their data to unknown model somewhere. And the uncontrolled cost. And I'll take each one of them one by one. So lack of fresh and detailed data, because every conversation starts with GenAI. When you go to the room, okay, what will you do? Board meets, executive meets, they just come to the data engineering department or whoever and say, hey, we want to bake AI somewhere in our product. What do we need to do? For what? Sometimes we don't know, but they just want it. The problem is every conversation starts with GenAI, but ends with where's the data? How do we get the data? So having a trusted data source is very important. When we look at what we call today is the modern data lakehouse or the modern data architecture, this is what usually people talk about. We bring our data from different sources, whether it's NetSuite, Oracle, Workday, SAP, Salesforce, and whatnot. And Incorta, by the way, has about 300 connectors, but a lot of sources is out there. What happens is all of that data is extracted to what we call a raw zone. 100% of your data is there. Everybody is happy. We have 100% of our data now in what we call a staging or a data lake. The problem is that data is literally unusable by the business user. Remember, I said in the beginning, the most important thing is to have value for the BI user, or for the business user. Now the data is not used, but what happens is a lot of transformation takes place. And usually it's done by multiple data engineers. By the time it's in the refined zone, it's about 25%. By the time it's ready to be consumed by, whether Tableau or Incorta or whatever, visualization tool you're trying to use, you're only literally working with aggregated 10% of your data. And you're not able to drill down to go all the way to how these things actually came in place. That's exactly one of the main problems why we don't see a lot of data in production. And then in order for a new question to come, data engineers had to go and recreate the entire pipeline. It's difficult to deploy. Who's the data engineer, by the way? Raise your hand. Okay. Data scientist? Analyst? Okay. The rest, what are you guys? Data nerds. Okay, great. I love this word. By the way, if you realized my picture, I used to wear glasses, not anymore after my LASIK. I used to be called nerd, not anymore, unfortunately, but I am still a nerd. Thank you for shouting out. But if you're a data engineer, or data analyst, or data scientist, or machine learning engineer, you definitely have deployed some sort of a model somewhere, and you know how difficult it is. You need to get the right talent if you're a data manager. You want to make sure that you're collecting the right data. Every day there's a foundational model. What's the latest? R1? You guys following? Yeah, the DeepSeek, right? It's said to be, in bar of 01. So again, a lot of technologies are coming out. How do you keep up with all of this? Model training, scalable RAG, that's another issue. It's not the RAG, the cool RAG that you see on YouTube. No, it's the RAG that that is scalable, that everybody in the organization that is happy to work with. Validation testing, ongoing maintenance, a lot of components. That's one of the second reason why it's very hard to deploy a production GenAI system. Third is lack of security. Most of the models that are out there that are working properly are shared. Shared means you don't know if your data is going to be trained on the next model or not. So you need some sort of privacy. Internal access. Even if I get that data inside the organizations, who can view what? It's really hard to do that. And then a lot of unknown risks. A friend of mine named May, she's the CEO of Ryder. She posted once that a Fortune 10 company is spending about $3 million a month just for the API calls. That's just staggering. Do you think this is a scalable system? It's really hard. So what we at Incorta have solved, and I'll go into the detail, is we're actually solving the live detailed data. We bring the data from different sources, from different systems, and I'll show you how. As it is, in its third normal form, we promise our customer the fixed cost, no matter how big your data is, once we size the opportunity, that's it. Similarly, with the GenAI opportunity, it's fully managed. You don't have to worry about all the complexities that you saw, and it's completely private because we went from the beginning with the open source systems. So that's the product that we have. It's called Nexus. We work with structured and also unstructured data. Any questions so far?
Does the data include audio, video, or just like text-based data?
So for now, for the structured data, we ingest all of it, of course, as I mentioned. For unstructured data, as of now, we work with text data. Yeah. All right. So, yes.
Oh, would you mind going back to the slide with the different steps?
Which one?
One more, I think. Yeah, this one.
Yes.
So from the engineering side, this makes total sense. And it might be implied that you're doing this, but I just want to call out that doing user experience testing is super important because often developing the model is in tandem with product development. And you always make sure what the model is outputting is what users want, or the kind of errors that you see are the ones that users can tolerate. So I would just suggest maybe highlighting the user research people, like the customer kind of testing, not just testing for bugs and stuff like that.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much for the
Sure.
shout out. Okay. So this is how the traditional data ingestion is happening all the way to the visualization. And this is how we do it at Incorta. We ingest all the data, as I mentioned. It lands within Incorta. This can go all the way to, so say, for example, BigQuery, Snowflake, Fiber from Microsoft, or it can go directly to the BI tools or the ML use cases that you have, or even business apps. For example, we have partnered with Workday and BlackRock, which is a company that does accounting. As the data comes, for example, if you're in the finance department, you ingest the entire data and you'll be able to visualize it there. And this is, Google is using Incorta, for example, as their main data ingestion for Oracle when it comes to BigQuery. And I'll show you a video how is that done in Incorta platform. Hopefully the sound will work. Do we need to connect? Okay. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. Is it the internet? It's stuck. Okay. But basically, this would have showed, okay, let me see. What is that? Did it say error? Okay. Okay. Yeah. I just played it before okay. So let me just move out. Let me try. It's working now. Still not. Okay. Maybe a little bit of refresher. Okay.
URL of the video and different tabs on your presentation.
It's not. Okay. Maybe we'll skip this one.
I think someone had a great suggestion. I want to try to just put the URL for your YouTube video in a separate tab.
Okay. Okay, the URL. Okay.
That's something. It's buffering.
Yeah, I'm just interesting. Okay, maybe I can just. That's pretty much.
Good idea. Get the URL.
It's not on YouTube. It was supposedly embedded, but okay, maybe I see something here.
Looks pretty YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I know this is taking a little bit longer. Yeah, I did try it before, so let me. Yeah, it did work.
Right to the presentation dots.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. So probably just gonna skip that, but basically wanted to show that how we're integrated with BigQuery, but it's not showing. So hopefully we'll get it fixed. But once that data is there, so multi-source system connected from everywhere, you have 100% of your data, and you will see in the visualization when I show in the next demo that you're able actually to, in the demo, you'll be able to see that you're actually able to drill down. Say, for example, you're in the dashboard, you'll be able to drill down all the way to the transactional data. Yes, go ahead.
When you see consume data,
Use this.
yeah, when you see consume data, is it that you have some API call from the data lake, or you are bringing local cache? What is it?
So when we say consume data, so say for example, it depends how you're ingesting it from the source system. Could be an API call, but this is live fresh data. It comes like incremental data. You ingest it first once. We at Incorta, we save it within Parquet files, and then something else called DDM. As the data is being loaded, we pre-calculate all the joins. We save it in the third normal form, and then it's ready now to be consumed by the dashboards, for example. So you can create as many views as you want, but you have one local copy of the data as it's ingested. No need for transformation. No need to flatten it or to make it in one form. Does that make sense?
But yeah, but do you cache the data?
It's stored. It's a memory database. So we store everything on desk on Parquet files, and then as the query comes, we surface only the ones that is needed, only the data that is needed to be surfaced in the memory. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think. Can I ask one more question?
Please go
so
ahead.
If I take example of, let's say, GitHub, that dashboard which you see over there,
Mhm.
and if you have to show that dashboard, it's a live data, right? Because check-in, pull out, and commit, and so on.
Mhm.
So can you just tell where exactly, how exactly you get it, and where you store it, or you just get from the source?
For the GitHub, I'm not really sure.
I'm just saying if you can take an example.
Yeah, as I mentioned to you, we ingested, the data is ingested. As the data is ingested, once it's stored, and then as more data comes to the transactional systems, it actually gets incremental data to that level, and then only when the query comes. So that dashboard is running, so it's refreshing, let's say every minute or every 2 minutes. That data is serviced in the memory, and then the dashboard is consuming out of that data, the memory, the data in the memory. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So as I mentioned, we went with the open source. So as of now, we're using Llama, Mistral, and variation of different ones, but everything is within Incorta platform. And that's how the architecture looks like. So in every feature within Incorta, whether it's the dashboard, whether the business notebook, the augmented analytics, there are certain agents that work within each app that we have. It utilizes Incorta core data lake. And then, of course, it taps into an enterprise RAG and a fine tuning and pipelining. And for the pipelining, we use aiXplain for that. Let me share one more, then hopefully it's working. This one, I was 100% sure that it was working.
Any of these by chance? These are just on YouTube.
None of this.
None of those.
Okay, this one was just working. Okay, let me, probably, is it because of the sound system or?
Yeah, try this guy.
Okay, I see some buffering. Does that mean the internet? Or?
The buffer is showing you up to like 21 seconds, so that's fine. It's a player itself. Try this guy from the sound.
Okay. Interesting. I was just playing it and it was working.
Did you try this guy from the sound?
Let me try to disconnect from the sound. Okay. All right, finally. Okay. So let me connect to the system here. All right. Tell me if you can hear something. Should not have went back. Okay. Let me take the sound system out. Yeah, I think it's the sound system. So let's use the old way of doing things.
Fleet management involves tracking vehicle performance, managing driver behavior, and ensuring your entire fleet operates smoothly. Compliance with regulations keeps your fleet on the road, helps avoid costly fines, reduces risk, and ensures the safety of your drivers and the public. Incorta, with new generative AI capabilities, delivers business value by enabling fleet managers to monitor compliance, control costs, and optimize operations. What if this dashboard still leaves us with some questions? Let's go ahead and use the Copilot. First, I wanted to know my average repair cost per vehicle. Perhaps some vehicles need to be retired from the fleet, or we should find a new maintenance vendor. Next, let's investigate how much repair costs I have paid each day for all vehicles. It looks like we have spent $10,650. I find this visual particularly useful, so let's use the Copilot to create an interactive dashboard element. In this case, I'll simply add the keyword insight to my prompt and run. Now we have a chart we can add to the dashboard. Once it's in the canvas, I can update the insight or edit the layout. We're not done yet. I see that one of our vehicles used a non-approved vendor for maintenance. I thought the vendor used here was qualified. Using Copilot, we can query unstructured data, like PDFs. In this case, we have a corpus of the State Fleet Management Handbook. Let's ask, what constitutes an approved vendor for maintenance? It appears they need proper insurance and have the required licenses. I do have a reliable, non-approved vendor with quick turnarounds. Can we still use this non-approved vendor for quick, inexpensive fixes? Let's say under $300. Great, it looks like I can use them as long as the repair costs don't exceed $350. Now,
if you realize, you would see sources and a factual score. We give a score, the Hamming score, we call it. And then also we give sources so that 1, 2, 3, you can click, you'll go to the PDF and you will be able to see that particular generation.
each vehicle's repair history to determine whether it is compliant and rationalize why it is or is not. But Incorta intelligently enriched this data set to check compliance. In this data flow, you can see we are importing a simple data set outlining vehicle maintenance history. The magic takes place in the LLM tool. The first thing you might notice is that our LLM model is one that improved with RAG, which refers to the State Fleet Handbook. With this context, the LLM can assess our prompt to determine whether the maintenance completed was compliant and why it was or was not. And there you have it. With the power of generative AI, Incorta can take away the most menial tasks and leave you with more time to focus on the strategic imperatives of your organization.
Okay, I think I'm a little bit over time. Thank you so much. Just wanted to share that with you. And I'm open for questions. Yes,
So
please.
I looked at like the whole video, and one question I had is
you're
how
here.
often is like the human in the loop, in the sense that, you know, there are these citations, these sources, but a person doing this, if they spend a lot of time on the citation and sources, then it does the opposite of save time, right? So what is like the balance there?
No, there's no human, like in this particular thing, what you do is you upload all the PDF files, right? You make sure that it's within the same corpus of that particular data set. So within, when you have that business view, you attach that corpus to that business view, and then you'll be able to ask, the system automatically generates. You know,
Right. I guess, like, does the user need to do fact checking? That was my question.
yeah. So we give you a score before that. So
Okay.
if it's in the 90, meaning that, you know, the text that was generated is actually very close from what's in the file. And this call hamming is done by Victara, and we adopted this. Victara is also one of our partners. And if the score is low, we give you the sources. So if the user wants to go and check, they can go and check with that. But the beauty here, as you can see, you're able to work with your structured and
Yeah.
unstructured data in one single place.
So I can see this whole thing like removing the entire analytics team, right?
I wouldn't say removing it as of
Well,
now,
I mean,
but you never know. As I mentioned in the beginning, things getting automated every day, and we just bake this, you know, these technologies.
yeah,
within our
I
product.
guess my question there is like, how much of a human interference do people typically do? Like, you have clients, right? So
Yes. So
Uh,
for us, for example, with big customers, we used to have a company or a bank. They had about, they told me about like 600, 700 IT that used to do different work. Now they're literally down to 120 by
okay,
using Incorta. Yes. And these are people are not just ingesting data because we do the ingestion for
Yeah.
them. They're the ones that, for example, sit the system for other users. Yeah, and most of them are actually business users. Yeah. Thank
cool.
you. Yes. Right there.
Sorry. Hi. You said you ingest and then normalize the data.
Yes.
And then you said you pre-calculate all the joins. I'm super curious. Can you go deeper into that?
Yes. This is our core IP. That's how we can only tell you that we pre-calculate all the joins, but this is literally what distinguishes us from all other vendors out there. is how we calculate these, pre-calculate all of these joins. Because once we do that, now you have literally a transactional system or a replica of the transactional system that is capable of running queries as good as an analytical system without having to transform it
Right. So you kind of keep the data
in its original form.
very granular. Yeah, I get it. And then when you say pre-calculate all the joins, do you mean like, okay, I have 3 tables with a bunch of data in all,
Mhm.
and you literally calculate all of them and then store that raw, like as like a cache somewhere, right?
So what's pre-calculated is called DDM in Incorta, direct data mapping. It's a small file that sits next to the Parquet files. So the data is ingested in its original format into Parquet files, and the DDM is that supplement file that is Incorta that can, as the query comes, can surface the right data in its analytical format as a, let's say, a flat table. Of course, I wanted the other video to show, but it's not showing with, is that the one? Let me show, yes. Okay, good, good. Can I play it if you guys don't mind, 2 minutes? Yes, okay.
Incorta dramatically simplifies the process of getting your operational source data from those systems out to Google BigQuery and for use in the Google Cortex platform. Let's say, for example, you want to do Oracle EBS, order to cash metrics. You simply bring that data into Incorta through our blueprint, and Incorta becomes a digital twin of that environment, understanding all of the data, but also the relationships. And so as we ingest, Incorta is deduplicating that information and can incrementally feed that data on an ongoing basis as frequently as every 5 minutes. In fact, in Incorta, we're even going to process the deletes for you so that once the data is available, we'll make that change and send that data set with changes to BigQuery. So once the information's in the environment, it truly is a reflection of, as an example, Oracle EBS in structure as well as in detail. And then getting it to BigQuery, to Cortex is as simple as, frankly, creating a connection. Because at that point, that's really all it is for us. We're going to set up a data destination to connect out to the BigQuery environment, connect out to your project. And then at that point, once it's in place, anytime we load that schema, whether that's an incremental load or a full load, frankly, it's going to get sent as part of that process directly out to BigQuery. And once the data is in place, you simply select the data sets you want to send over to BigQuery, and they'll show up directly in the environment. That data is then available to feed into the Cortex framework with change data capture already in place, or it can be used more broadly in Gemini models or for direct use in Looker. With Incorta, just give us a connection and we'll give you your data.
So this was an example of how Incorta sometimes feed to other data sources. So it's an open data platform. It doesn't, you don't have to use all the components. You could use part of it. All right, I think I'm off time here. Thank you so much. And thank you for coping with the technical difficulties.
Thank you, Ebrahim. I think up next we have Sonam, and she's, for the coffee lovers, going to show you how to build BaristaAgent. Did I get that right? Yeah, right. Yeah, we can clap.
Okay. Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing? Yeah, more energy. Come on. There we go. There we go. That's more like it. So many of you might have seen me doing the hosting side. So it's totally weird to be on the other side of this. But I can see so many familiar faces. So thank you for coming again. And welcome to the new faces here. So as I said, I'm Sonam. I work as a senior developer advocate at a startup called aiXplain or Explain. And today, our agenda for this talk is I'm going to talk about agents, then I'm going to talk about AI agents, and then I'm going to talk about AI agents even more. That's pretty much the agenda. But decided to take a non-traditional route, so I'm going to start with the demo first. Fingers crossed, the demo works. And if it doesn't, I have a backup plan. I recorded the video just today, so it's fresh, I promise. So I'm going to just quickly run the Streamlit app that I built on what is called the BaristaAgent. And I haven't hosted it yet because this is just still a toy project to show the capabilities of what the agents can do for us. So once I run this, it's working, fingers crossed. So, there we go. So the idea behind this app or this agent is I am a barista or a coffee shop owner, which honestly is my retirement plan. And I tell the agent that, hey, you are a barista at my coffee shop, and my coffee shop is called Coffee and NLP, which is my X handle as well, if you guys want to follow me. And at my coffee shop, we're going to serve coffee and talk NLP. So now what I want the agent barista to do for me is that I'm going to provide a list of available ingredients that I have at with me. And I want it to do two things. So one agent, it's going to give me, actually, hold on, let me give some ingredients here. Milk. Okay, thank you. So I gave some ingredients is sugar, milk, my favorite Guatemalan medium roast coffee, and cinnamon. Now, while it does some creative stuff, the first agent is going to give me this innovative recipe that is based on the ingredients that I provide. And the second agent, what it's going to give me is it's going to scrape the Starbucks website. It's going to do some pricing analysis, and it's going to show me that, okay, these are the prices that I found on Starbucks based on similar coffee recipe that it found on Starbucks. And then it will tell me that, okay, these are the prices that you should have for your coffee shop. It's going to take a few minutes, but I heard that, or I saw on LinkedIn that there are many coffee enthusiasts in this audience today. So while it does its funky thing, anybody has any favorite coffee shop in San Francisco? Anyone like to tell me? Because I explore coffee shops pretty much every day. Yes. Ritual, heard that one. That's good. Yes. Oh, Sana Coffee is really good. Nice one. Side glass, okay. Outset Coffee in Montgomery? No, yeah, nice. My personal favorite is Harass Coffee. If you haven't, it's in Hayes Valley, must visit, and it's open till 11 p.m. All right, so now the agent worked its charm. It says that, okay, here's the coffee recipe. Is it visible? Should I make it larger? Visible for everyone? Okay. Okay, so it shows that, okay, these are the inspiration behind this recipe is that, okay, it says that, okay, current coffee trends are using the ingredients that I provide. It includes cozy and warm flavor profiles. It gives a nice detail into these insights. And then it also shows that what are the flavors in it, what are the notes in the coffee that will go well with the ingredients. And then it comes up with a unique recipe, which it names as Guatemalan Cinnamon Sugar Delight, based again on the ingredients that I gave. It shows what are the steps. Now it gives you the preparation time, skill level basic, drink category hot, seasonal potential for fall and winter, which makes sense. Now the second agent comes in and does the pricing analysis. as I told the agent that go on to scrape the Starbucks website for the menu prices and similar coffee recipes, it goes on and tells me that, okay, it found one similar coffee recipe, which is called cinnamon dolce latte. And it says that, okay, this is the current price. And the key similarities, it's that it contains, cinnamon, sugar, milk, and it's a hot drink. Now it gives me a recommended pricing structure, which is pretty interesting. It gives me for each of the size that are similar to what it found on Starbucks website. And it says that, okay, 10% lower than what the Starbucks tall size is, and similar for medium and large. And again, towards the end, it gives you the pricing strategy that, okay, the recipe recommended pricing set is set 10 to 15% lower than what you find on Starbucks. So these are the kind of details that my barista agent came up with. So going back to my presentation, we saw what it did. It gave what I asked it, and in fact, it gave even more details, and it gave it a nice prompt, nice output layout. And of course, with prompt engineering, you can modify as much as possible. And by the way, for this barista agent, I used GPT-4o and multiple scrapers, but I'm going to talk about it in the next few slides. So now we saw what an AI agent does in action. What is an AI agent? Well, AI agent basically, it's a system that can reason, act, and respond to you and act autonomously. I keep hearing that, people keep asking like, okay, what is LLM versus agents? Now, my point is that it's not one versus the other. It's because LLMs are the brain to the agents, and it can connect with different tools and APIs to solve any task that you give it. So that's more what an AI agent is. So this is just a simple example, a Jiffy that I had, which again, another use case where the user basically gives access to the agent to its Gmail or calendar, any other office tools or invoices and such. And the agent goes and asks like, okay, are there any, do you want to see how your calendar looks like? Or these are some of the invoices that are outstanding, and so on. The key capabilities of AI agents are typically 4: reason, act, observe, and respond. Now, reason is where it takes in your user query, it breaks it down, does the task decomposition, it creates a plan, and then the act, given the task, it will then invoke any tool or API that is appropriate for your task that you give. And then observations are basically retained in the interaction history, and it uses those to refine the responses or iteratively improve based on the past interactions. And combining the insights that it got from the task decomposition while orchestrating with other tools and APIs, and plus, of course, the interaction history, it will respond to you in a contextual and well-formed, more reliable kind of format. So those are the few capabilities of an AI agent. Now, so that's the basic idea behind AI agents and what it can do. Now, I work for a company that happens to provide a faster way to build and deploy AI agents without a need of too technical AI expertise, with an access to a vast marketplace of different generative AI models, large language models, and many other tools. So XPlain or aiXplain, we provide 2 different architecture. We support 2 different architecture. One is single agent architecture, where the code intelligence, as I mentioned earlier, is come from you provide an LLM. It helps you in planning and orchestration. Whereas you can provide tools to leverage, or you leverage external tools for orchestration or for any given task that you have. And when you can, or when it is ideal to use the single agent architecture is when you want to build a adaptable, reason-driven single agent systems. I showed you the Jiffy, that was one other example. The other example could be if you want to build a customer support chatbot where you give an LLM to understand the query or interpret them, and then you can invoke tools like CRM API, for instance. And then this architecture comes with the shared memory where it basically stores your interaction or output from the tools. It's basically kind of like sharing or storing the session history. The next one is the fancier one. This is the team agents architecture, where it's basically another phrasing for team agents could be a multi-agent system that you might have heard. So in this architecture, the basics are, of course, what I told you earlier, but it comes with it comes with specialized agents or pre-built agents. And some of them, as you see on the slide, are Mentalist. Now, what Mentalist does? Well, Mentalist is an agent that we provide as part of this architecture. It interprets the natural language query. It will help you plan. It will help you decompose your task into smaller tasks. And then Orchestrator will basically is responsible for coordinating or invoking different tools and API that you ask or if you want in your application. And after that, it's Inspector. Well, Inspector is basically responsible to inspect the quality of the output, and it also helps with the policy and security concerns or anything. And these are not just the only specialized agents that we have. We also have a bodyguard that is coming soon. And there are so many other cool pre-built agents that we will be releasing soon. What Bodyguard will do is basically it will help you with your, you can think about guardrails. That's what, it will help you make sure that you are enforcing policy concerns or compliances if it is helping with every aspect of that. And of course, the shared memory is kind of similar. We have the short-term memory where it stores the outputs from the tools, temporary outputs from tools and LLMs, and then just basically stores your session history. So that's the team agents. Now, as previously, as Ebrahim spoke about what Incorta does and how aiXplain is part of their nexus, we basically, yes, Incorta is a great partner for us, and we provide fully managed AI services, including MLOps, and also provide dedicated instances. And in the agent framework, we help them develop custom generative AI pipelines and agents, whereas seamless integration with Incorta's operational lakehouse and any other data sources that they have. Basically, it helps with the whole, enhancing the advanced analytics and decision-making with help of generative AI. So to summarize, the key features of aiXplain's agentic framework is you can use the pre-built agents that have the cognitive capabilities. We have the guardrails that you can use to enforce that there's security, there's trust, the agents are on their good behavior, and they're not crossing those ethical boundaries. And then it's very easy to, plug and play all the different APIs, libraries, tools within our marketplace. And if you don't find any tools, you can yourself onboard them, or we can help you onboard them as well. Next is the modularity, which is what, the idea behind the team agent architecture, or just in general, our agent framework is big on modularity because it makes it easy to add, modify, or replace any tools or code as you need. You can also see what is the execution trace like, what are the different statistics that go on, just basically have like a log of how your agent is working. And last but not least, you can launch the agents that you build on the platform while it automatically scales depending on what your demands are. So Next slide is quite interesting. And why? If you can take out your phone, come on, take it out, open the camera, scan the QR code, and it will take you to a Google form. It will help. Basically, we recently started this feedback program where we ask people to submit the form, build an agent on our platform, talk to us, tell us what your feedback was, what your experience is building an agent on our platform. Write on social media, we'll share it because we are all about, giving the right credit to right people, and well, you earn some money. Okay, I see some phones, but don't put your phone down. There are 2 more QR codes coming up. Just 2 more, promise. So I'm on the left, I'm on the right. You can connect me either on LinkedIn or Discord. And that's it. That's the wrap. Thank you for being so curious and not dozing off, by the way. Really appreciate it. So I'm open for questions.
Wait, can I cheat and ask a question?
Yes.
So I liked the components that you mentioned, like an inspector. I have an application where I want to add varying degrees of randomness and entropy to my system based on a situation. So you can't really put it in a prompt. Could I build one of those components myself?
I think yes. Yes,
like
you can.
Randomizer. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. This question. You want to expand?
Okay.
Sorry, before that, I think she wants to expand on the answer.
wanted to answer them. So we just added a feature where you can add custom code, basic Python, and you can plug it into a single agent or a multi-agent system. And if you feel like you're using this code repeatedly, you can make it into a utility, onboard it and explain it. It becomes even like an asset with an API that you can distribute. It's deployed forever and at no cost.
And that's Noor, our head of product, by the way. Thank you, Noor.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering when you integrate with a system like the Incorta in the enterprise, because sometimes the data is so sensitive. So I'm wondering, what's your suggestion that the data's permission control should be the data owner, or agent will control the permission, the access control?
So if I understand your question right, are you saying that how the permissions will work, especially when it comes to sensitive data sources?
Yes.
I'm not sure about that at the moment. I can always ask Noor if she's aware of that. Gentleman here is asking that when it comes to sensitive data sources, how does the permission work when the agent wants to connect with it? Of course, we provide the guardrails, but yeah.
Working with Incorta, they already have a layer of security that they guarantee for their own customers. So we abide by these rules. So if you use Explain agent and you are a user of Incorta's data lake, you have direct access because you're on the access list. If you don't, based on just your token as a user, you're blocked from certain assets. It doesn't mean you're blocked from the entire agent. The agent might be doing like 4 different tasks, and just one of them is accessing the data that is secure. Just this part where you will be blocked from. And this is part of the bodyguard component that Sonam talked about. But bodyguard can be implemented directly by Explain or by our partner that is already having this kind of security level.
Thank you, Noor. Thank you for the question. Anyone else?
Thank you for the presentation, very informative. I have 2 questions. One about the rising costs of LLMs and building agents. Do you guys do something to tackle that? And then the second is when you daisy chain multiple agents, there is obviously a rise in latency. So how would you address that?
To answer your first question about pricing, the way we price is pay as you go. So it basically just depends on the number of tokens that you use, and the pricing is similar to what the suppliers have. And the second one, you said that when you build a multi-agent system, what's the latency like? That's a good question. At least in the BaristaAgent that I built, I compared two. One is where I just built single agent. The other, the one that I showed you guys, that was the team of agents. So at least this is a toy example, but from my experience, the single agent was slightly faster, but the quality when I assessed, and again, the quality by this, I mean, I'm literally just read through, and again, this is a toy project for enhanced complex workflows. You can have different kind of metrics to assess the quality. But for using this example, it's more about like when you want to leverage what, whether you want to leverage this latency or the quality of results. So in this example, I wanted better quality. The speed was slightly slow, but then again, it could differ from LLM to LLM, basically. So yeah.
So, sorry, one follow-up.
Sure.
On the latency, when you have deployed it in production environments, if you have, what kind of latency are you seeing?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't deployed the agent in production, so can't speak to that just yet. But yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Noor has an answer for you. Hold on. I have the mic.
So if you're deploying on a production level and you're using open source model, we can control latency by controlling the chip that you have under your underlying your agents, right? So that's easy. So, and this is how we're currently selling for production. If you're using a model that is passed through, that is hosted on a cloud, we have less control over latency because there is nothing we really can do. The only overhead XPlain adds anyhow to anything that you call through XPlain's gateway is what we're trying to achieve is 30 milliseconds or below. But that is necessary just to get through our wallet, billing, transactions. So that is there. We're always working on reducing that part. But most of the latency, like the significant part compared to this portion, is often from the large language model. One example we had is with a pass-through model like from Bedrock, which we have hosted. We have all the Bedrock, all the models on XPlain. If you want production level, we create a different account just for your company. So you'll have the full throughput only dedicated for you instead of sharing it with all XPlain users. So these are like some of the ways we can improve that latency. Today, what she ran, Sonam, she ran on a pass-through model that is shared by all XPlain users. So it's really for, let's talk about it as development environment, more or less.
Any other questions? Yes.
And I'm just wondering if you also use SLM for some kind of agent. That is the first question. And the second is that whether the model alone decide what kind of platform I'm going to deploy it or what else?
The first question, if I understand that right, if we have SLMs?
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of SLM, yes, we do have, I think, Llama, the small, I don't know if there is a small version of Llama models, but we have a variety of models. And if there is anything in particular that we want to see, we can definitely onboard it on our marketplace. So yeah, there are different versions or different models that could serve. Yeah, and I can show you the marketplace quickly. So this is where you see like, so yeah, we have the new DeepSeek LLM as well. We have 3.1 Llama and any function. If I say that, okay, text generation, it will show you around 161 models that are available right now for text generation specifically. So we have different like, models that are hosted on Grok, Together AI, AWS, OpenAI, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so this is just like a quick view into our marketplace. I forgot your second question.
It was about the platform, basically. How do you decide what kind of platform you are going to deploy in terms of size of data, model type, and so on? The reason I'm asking because the promise of agent in many situations is that you want to provide intelligence, let's say in telecommunication, the first mile, for example, your Wi-Fi router, you have a limited bandwidth, limited memory, so what you can or you can't. In that case, you can also host somewhere in the cloud and just provide the API interface. So I was just wondering, is there any, where the world is moving towards in terms of what kind of platform and how do we know?
So just clarifying the question, when you say that we have different, I guess, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so in many situations, not always, is that the promise of AI agent is that you are trying to provide, you are trying to distribute the intelligence. For example, in your back office, you have some machine pending or some switches, router, Wi-Fi, and you want to run this small type of intelligence with some data, some sensors. Mm-hmm. So I was just wondering if you have, how do we know that a particular AI agent would need what? Do we have some benchmarking or some guidance kind of platform, machine requirement? Because we did talk about latency, so that is tied to the platform, storage, machine, and security.
Right. So in terms of benchmarking, yes, you can definitely benchmark different LLMs to see, like, depending on your task specifically, which one would you can get your data that you have, and then you can benchmark those LLM and see what kind of performance are you looking for and which one performs best to serve your use case. So that way, yes, we can benchmark and see the performance of the LLMs. Agent benchmarking is work in progress, and we are working on that, but it's not out there yet. So yeah, so at least to a certain level, you can understand that, okay, whatever your use case is, which LLM will fit better. Hope that answered your question.
No, great, thank you.
Thanks. More like a comment. So, we've been talking about latency for a while, and you showed that slide with like multi-agent systems. So the more complex your agent becomes, the more the latency will be higher. Yeah. So in terms of like advising your clients, like, do you what kind of services do you provide in terms of like what level of complexity should you go for? Even in benchmarking, right? Like you will need to design the agent in some way to say this is an agent with 4 calls to the LLMs or something like that to get the benchmarking. So I guess the question is like, how do you advise people to build agents based on their use case? So it goes back to, first of all, understanding what their use case is, and if it using like a standard workflow / pipeline, if that makes sense, besides just going on to building an agent. So understanding and assessing what they want to build, I think that would be our first way of assessing and advising that, okay, something that you are asking, you can just use it a static pipeline, which is predeterministic. Whereas if you want more autonomy and more like, more reasoning capable, well, not reasoning, but more autonomy or more dynamic, that's when you actually go ahead and build single agent versus multi-agent.
I'll just use this opportunity because I'm just next to this person. I have a kind of non-technical question. How do you guys plan to make money? So it looks like you have a framework for building agents. You have functionality like Bodyguard, which probably needs to be integrated with identity access management in different clouds. So probably your framework is you ported between the clouds. It's available in AWS, I presume, and elsewhere. But really, what's your how do you plan to make money? Yes, how do you monetize it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes, we have for the LLMs or the usage of LLMs in whichever way that you are using, we have the pay-as-you-go pricing model, and of course we want to build AI solutions, and we have more detailed pricing structure. But I think Noor is curious and eager to answer that, so I'm going to let her do that.
You're asking a question we keep asking ourselves. So we already have, we definitely have a business model in place, but we are also very curious to start working with the new system of You only pay if you're satisfied with your results. But today, to clarify, every asset you see here has the exact pricing point you will see on the same vendor's website. We don't add a penny here. What we do is only if you invoke this LLM directly from Explain, you pay exactly what you pay together, AWS in this case. But if you put it inside of an agent, you would pay 20% extra based on token usage to Explain, and that's covering the runtime, the hosting, and other services. So this is one portion. We capitalize on a lot of traffic in order for us to make money. And to tell you the truth, developers are not a source of income for Explain. We just love to grow this community. It is businesses that are in production that are doing like million of API calls a month. These are the people bringing in money. A second source of income that is very important and we're learning more about is companies do not want to be in your cloud. So we're managing their ML ops and agent ops on their selected hardware. And we just add it as part of our cloud. It's not physically part of our cloud, but we manage it the same way. And this has been something we were calling a subscription system. You subscribe to get dedicated instances. With that comes security. No one shares your hardware instance, no data contamination, and also complete throughput only dedicated for you. Sure.
Hi, one question here. How do you protect, in fact, it's a good segue to what you explained, Noor. How do you protect the data when you use third-party LLMs? Do you encrypt the data, or do you just have permission scheme on top of it?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Wrap up the session. Who asked the question? Sorry. Yes, you were asking about data security. Okay. So we have VPN in and out. This is one technique we're using if you're only concerned about using your endpoints through AWS, which is our own private cloud there. So we just guarantee that input and output is happening, and everything that happens in the cloud is the guarantees that AWS give us and give you. We have SOC 2 compliance as well. But the biggest, the strongest version of data security is either dedicated model, also with VPN access input and output, or our recent on-edge deployment. So we have a mini Explain, like an operating system on an old CD, think of it this way, that we implement in your choice of cloud or on-premises hardware. The only data that we see is that token. We don't see the token itself. So we keep the stats so we can monitor, you figure out if you're having malfunction, just keeping the health of the system on our side, but the data does not leave your hardware in any way.
But this data is not encrypted or it's basically open, right?
Which one?
Whether it's on-prem or in the cloud, it's not encrypted by any mechanism, correct?
So, so far we have not been into no one has asked for encryption. We do have PII as an option. We can add it for specific use cases where you have actually a control list of who can see what. But I don't think this is the question you're asking. In terms of encryption, we just have the VPN security on input and output. And on Explain, we don't store the data except for agent logs in development environments. But once you go to production, everything is stored in your database. So you link your database to our agent and everything goes to your database directly. So it lives no second on Explain. So this is what we're doing today.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Noor. And thank you everyone for listening in and asking questions.
Awesome work. Just a quick reminder, 7:30 is the end time for our little raffle. So if you haven't yet, make sure you take care of that on your side. If you don't have the QR code, I can even pull it up. Next up, typically what we like to do is have a couple of folks who are interested in talking about their own product. But before that, does this scare anyone in terms of their job? Is anyone worried about this? Or a very small population, I love it. All right, maybe I won't do the talk. But quite a few times I get sort of this question about like, oh my God, what's gonna happen to my job? And I am working with AI Camp to do a bunch of talks on this topic, including like upskilling and kind of like the new thought process behind building products, because I think there's something to it that if you understand that the quality is gonna go high for everybody, you're gonna feel a little bit less stressed. And I also really want to try this audio system real quick. So I'm gonna see if this works. One sec. This is like my 40-second spiel that I just put together this morning for the very first time on Opus. Let's see. Okay, Decimator, don't let me down. It actually did let me down. Punch cards, and nobody sees punch cards anymore, I hope. Right? You hear that? And then we got mainframes, and almost nobody sees mainframes anymore. Then we had PCs and the web. Can anyone hear that actually? Not really? Let's try the old school mic method. Why did I disconnect the whole thing? Let's try sound MacBook. All right. Let's see if this works. Right? And then we got mainframes, and almost nobody sees mainframes anymore. Then we had PCs and the web, and technology started moving forward a lot. And then we had these boot camps that in 3 months could teach you how to code. And some of those people had success, but there was this huge thing: software engineering is dead. It's gone. You don't need it anymore. You can learn it in 3 months. And now AI is doing kind of the same thing, but you can do it in 1 day. What hasn't changed is that we still have professions in this field that are delivering really high value product, and we just have to rethink how we deliver it. I built an app recently that uses this framework that I have, and it changes the way you think about AI. That's your preview. So yeah, if this kind of stuff makes you nervous or you just want to upskill with some tooling, we're going to have some virtual sessions with AI Camp, and I'm going to talk a lot about that. Come see me if you're interested, or just keep a tab on AI Camp. I'm also happy to connect on LinkedIn. Though, do we have any volunteers for talking about their product while I try to get a list together? I have 1, I have 2, I have 3. I'm going to pick. Well, let's see. We're here till about. Yeah, we have time. I think we could do all 4. All right, sir, if you could come up first. When you guys come up, please introduce yourself, what you want to talk about, and if you have a little spiel or a product, keep it under 5 minutes, ideally just a couple minutes, so as we can get everyone.
Sure. Thank you.
So your name?
Yeah. Saswara Basu. You can call me Sas. Thank you. I'm the founder and CEO of Zeus.network, ZUS, like the Greek god. So we have been building for the last 7 years, and we have developed a very cool product. It's a distributed data system, a distributed secure data platform. And we are kind of focusing now on AI workflows. And it's actually in line with what Explain and Incorta we're talking about in terms of data security. We provide end-to-end encrypted data AI data flows. We recently partnered with Fetch.ai, and we're building a storage agent, which will come probably this month. And this would basically take your data, input data, whether it's a prompt or PDF attached to it. It'll encrypt it and give permission to the AI agent to decrypt it and do its processing. And then the AI agent will place it in it can encrypt it as well and put it in a platform where you can decrypt it. So it's only 1-to-1. So it's a specific workflow where there's total encryption, end-to-end encryption. So please take a look at the agent when we are available at fetch.ai marketplace, and we'll be having another talk with fetch.ai, and maybe we can partner with aiXplain and Incorta and some of the other models. Thank you. Questions? Any questions?
One question, if anyone has a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you're allowing for a single agent to have models distributed across clouds?
Yeah, you can basically, it's democratizing any model. You can choose any model. You're not worried. Like, and as a business, you're not worried where the data goes out because it's encrypted. You own the data. You own the key. We are totally transparent where the data is located. It's all on-prem, essentially. And you choose where the data is located. We provide the infrastructure that's fully managed.
Nice.
And basically, you own the key. So there is no SOC compliance to deal with.
Nice.
Because it's fully compliant. You own the data. It's like the old days of on-prem, owning everything on-prem.
Very good. Thank you.
And basically, you give permission. So basically, you encrypt the data and then you use proxy re-encryption. So we have a technology called proxy re-encryption where you give permission to the AI agent to look at your data, and the AI agent then produces the result. The result is then would be sent to you. Only you can decrypt the data. So the AI agent would encrypt the data as well. So it's a double encryption and scheme. It's kind of complex, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, big hand. We got spot for a few more. Anyone else interested? All right. Come on. Wait.
I was the first one to raise my hand.
I'm sorry. Someone was the first one to raise their hand, so we're going to let them go first.
Can I go to your laptop, please?
Yeah.
Just need the browser. No. Hey, everyone. I'll just introduce myself in the meantime. I just need the browser. My name is Didi, and I am the co-founder of a company called Huby, which is Huby. Our product is not yet launched. I just wanted to give you a sneak preview. The problem we are trying to solve is really, how many of you are building GenAI products? Cool. So the problem we are solving is to provide marketing exposure for any GenAI products, whether it is all the way from LLMs to apps, agents in between. And we haven't shown this product to anyone yet. So you're the first one seeing it. So it's a marketplace of curated GenAI products. So essentially, you can showcase your product, get feedback, get exposure. The way it works is, and you can follow it over your phone or laptop. Currently, it's kind of locked. So just click on this lock thing. It will show up in the left corner of your phone or website here. And essentially, as a user, any individual can come here and they can put whatever their use case is, such as this one, which says I want to record, edit, and transcribe my podcast, which I can use on social media. And behind the scene, what it does, it looks at the products that we have curated. So essentially, we're looking at many different aspects of a product, whether it is safety, security, privacy, usability, user experience, and whatnot. And it brings up the products that we have curated. It also brings up the products which are related but may not be curated. So that's the idea here. And if somebody wants to, read about a product, basically, based on whatever, let me just put something here. So it's looking at It's looking at the curated inventory of products that we have. And hopefully it will come up. It's the, oh yeah, it did come up. So it lists the products that we may have curated. It also brings the products that we may not have curated. So these are additional uncurated products that are on our platform. And it also brings products that are not on our platform at all. So if you need visibility for your product, feel free to submit. The link is up at the top. There is no fee for it. Initially, we are running a marketing campaign for developer productivity products. So we are building communities across different tracks. The idea is we want to build this as the go-to place where people can find objective reviews, objective assessment of different products to use it. That's really it. Happy to take any questions.
Looks pretty nice. I'll go back to somebody's previous question. What do you think is your competitive advantage? And how do you plan to make money as well?
What was the first part? Sorry.
What do you think is your competitive advantage, right? So, what prevents me from doing the same thing tomorrow?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Competitive advantage is more on the curation process. So we are developing our own proprietary curation process. As I said, we are looking at privacy, security, usability, user experience, usefulness, and all of that. So we are putting our name on the product that we have evaluated it for those characteristics. How are we going to make money? I don't know. I think, I do believe, right? And that once you create value, there'll be many different ways you can monetize. So initially, we are not going to charge anyone anything, but later on, we have a few different ideas where we can build other capabilities and can potentially charge something for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. Anyone else? Well, check it out, hubi.ai, and if you want to give some feedback, we will truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We got somebody else. Yeah, there we go. He's ready to go.
Just need to connect.
I'll swap out. Please introduce your name, your product, all that good stuff.
It's not coming.
It's not working. Is it just that website?
No, it's
robominions.in.
No, I have to show app. It's a
Ah.
desktop app.
It might just be the fact that it's not Mac, maybe? No, I've seen Windows work just fine over here.
Okay,
Oh wait, it's doing the thing. Try to extend it. Go in displays. And let's see if it pops up as an option. Oh. Oh. Do you want to try to just share your website real quick?
Yeah, sure.
We're already down like 3 minutes. Let's go. What's your website?
It's a robominions.in.
Is it okay if I just let you type it in?
Yeah, sure.
You can
give-
to your laptop.
Okay.
Not going to be responsible for scratching your thing.
Yeah, guys, I'm Dhananjay Sharma, founder of robominions.in. So it's a code tracing app. So if you scroll down, please, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it's right now, it's a desktop app where you can trace all your like complex algorithms and programming concepts step by step. So all the data structures, algorithms, so step-by-step code tracing with all variable values coming up. And right now we are trying to support even the AI and ML models, like understanding the code step-by-step, how the weights are getting changed. So all these things I'm working on right now. And
So these are the languages planning to support. Right now, we are supporting C, data structure algorithm, Python, C++, Java, AI ML systems and system design and DBMS. So other concepts we are trying to add. So it's more like giving in-depth knowledge of what exactly, step by step, you try to trace the code and you get the graphics on the side and you can understand and revise the concepts. The problem I faced in my life in the software journey is a lot of the concepts when I learn, I tend to forget after 2-3 months. So you need to keep on revising certain things. So yeah, that's the whole idea behind this startup. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have a question. Thank you.
Can you show us the website, the URL, please?
Yeah, it's robominions.in. It's an AI code trainer. Yeah. So robominions.in. Right now, it's supporting on Windows, Mac. I'm still working on that. And yeah, here is a quick visual too. So by just clicking back and next button, you control the code. So you have a, I would have shown a proper demo. If anyone wants to see the app working, I can show it. It's on my laptop. So by just clicking back and next button, you control the code step by step. You get all the tree, graphics, everything. Yeah, that's the shot. Thank you.
Question. More questions, sorry. Do you run this code or does your AI just read that code?
So you actually run the code. You trace the code step by step, as a user, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some systems that runs this code. How do you protect against somebody saying forever run or something evil like that? So how do you protect against people who are trying to break your system? Like if you allow any input of any code.
Oh, no, I won't be allowing. It's
But you said you run the code. No, I'm not talking about DOS and DDoS. I'm just saying forever run. Simple. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The infinity loop.
For example.
Yeah. So I'm not allowing the user to make any code changes. So it's more like understanding the concepts. So all the data structures, algorithms, whatever you find, it's more like a guide or a book for quickly revising all your concepts. So user won't be, right now we are not allowing to make any changes to the code.
Oh, I see. So you're not allowing random code.
It's hard-coded right now. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love that visualization. Yeah. Did we have anyone else? Oh, yeah, please come on up. Don't wait for me. I think we can do another one of these and then we'll go into people who are hiring and then announce the winner.
Thank you. Hi, Avi Saxena. I'm the head of products for a company called Trustwise. We are about a 2-year-old startup out of Austin. And I'm sure everybody here who has used generative AI has experienced some sort of hallucination or something like that. And that has been an issue with enterprises adopting it. So what we at Trustwise are doing is building a trust layer that helps enterprises figure out how to avoid hallucinations, alignment to corporate and regulatory policies, and also help them deploy large-scale GenAI systems. And we have been building this product for 2 years. We are recently getting into the agentic workflows. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions or anything, just reach out on trustwise.ai. Thank you. Any questions? All right.
Oh. All right. I'm just going to...
Questions?
Oh, we did have questions. Oh, come on back.
Thank you. So is part of trust managing bias?
Yes, so we have some metrics that help detect bias in the LLM's response. So based on that, we either whitelist or blacklist the response from the LLM.
So can you score the bias of a response or?
So we actually, the way we do it is using some metrics for grounding and looking at the context and the response from the LLM based on the query that the user puts in. Does that answer your question?
To some extent.
Okay, I can get into an offline discussion with you if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other? Trust-wise? Yeah.
Sounds very familiar. Thank you. And our final presenter is Jeremy Konescu. Here you go.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. So this is going to be really super low tech for this crowd. And I also just took screenshots on my phone and emailed it to them. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. But my name is Jeremy Konescu. I'm the founder of Maslow Murphy. So we help people achieve like Maslow's hierarchy of need and Murphy's law. So we help people achieve the best that they can be and try to stop them from falling backwards. So I use emerging technologies and everyday experiences just to improve the user experience. My background's actually in theater and I'm a UX designer. So I've worked on large projects for global companies for 30 years. So the most recent thing I did that's out right now, other than what I did about 3 hours ago that we just took from concept to launch in 2 weeks, is somebody asked me to help them with their business and go through their pitch deck. And I was looking at other AI systems that did it, and they were kind of predatory, where it takes in your idea, which is, I want to build a guitar out of dead cats. And they go, that's a great idea. And then they kind of sell you these other services. So what I did is I created something where I'm daisy chaining probably 12 AI agents together and still keeping context through API calls to do really more of a gap analysis on the idea. And so you just answer 15 or 20 questions that are investor-based questions. And then you go through and you can edit them, whatever you want to do. And then we were talking about guidelines and the guardrails for AI. So that's all built in. I actually tried to hack this and it got really mad at me. So everybody, like, there's a lot of things in all the reports. It says this is an AI thing. Don't, you can't do this for anything other than what it's designed to do. And it comes back with really an in-depth 10-page analysis of what you're doing from a competitive landscape, from revenue, from your team, and all of that. And the first time I ran this, it said, you're an idiot, go work at McDonald's. So I had to train it that when you're talking to humans, you need to complement whatever they've done and then talk about the benefits of incremental change and not just say that's stupid. So there was a lot of work that went into the prompt engineering and the language and how that goes through. So that's kind of it. But what I do is I help companies launch. I usually can take people from concept through the go-to-market strategy, brand identity, and all of that, and out to a rapid prototype in a couple of weeks. And we just did that this morning with a gym app. So that's it. Everybody, you can connect to me on LinkedIn and go visit my website. Does anybody have any questions? Probably not. This is kind of a higher tech crowd than what this is, but yeah.
Self-actualization model.
Correct.
And Murphy is, everyone knows about Murphy law. So why did you call it Maslow Murphy?
It's
There's
the idea is that
fun idea.
for entrepreneurs really want to kind of jump ahead to the top of the pyramid, and they skip all the, okay, how am I safe? Is it secure? Do I have the right community? So we make sure that you can't fall down. I've been in a ridiculous amount of debt a couple of times and kind of gotten out of it and kept starting companies. So a lot of this is, how do we help you become the best that you can be by making sure that everybody kind of comes back to a successful path and avoid Murphy's Law?
Thank you.
Sure. Good question. Does anybody else have any questions? No. Great.
Oh, sorry. I have one. I'm also from UX, so good to see a fellow brother up there. I see you do UX design. Awesome. Do you also do user research to help find product market fit?
Yes.
Cool. And is it quantitative and qualitative?
Yes.
Or Oh, cool.
So I spent a year leading some data analytics stuff at Wells Fargo during the pandemic and kind of creating COVID reports and reports for Congress and all that, and automated a lot of the systems there. So yeah, a lot of it's quantitative.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're jumping right into hiring. I think we have Anish coming up first.
Hey guys, my name is Anish. I'm the founder and CEO of Lervo. We are an AI learning assistant initially targeted at medical students. We're basically looking to make learning more fun, more motivating, more engaging for students through personalization and gamification. We are an angel-funded startup, and we are making our first hire for a founding engineer, ideally looking for 3 to 4 years of experience. And yeah, my name is Anish, A-N-E-E-S-H. You can either email me or I'll be around, anish@lervo.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to talk about getting hired or hiring even? I'm sorry? That's fine. Yeah, getting hired even. Yeah, if you want to make a quick pitch for yourself, give yourself 30 seconds. And if you're trying to get yeah, come on up, come on up. Don't be shy. We want to see your face.
Hi, everyone. There's a lot of people. My name is Rami. I'm originally a mechatronics engineer, and then I transitioned into more of an operations role through an MBA at the University of Virginia. My most recent job, I used to work as a program manager at a big tech company in their hardware team, which I did not find very fulfilling. And then as I started working with generative AI, I realized this is kind of a smartphone moment for us. And getting into it now is kind of like getting into software engineering in the 90s. So I found this to be a good pivot and something that I'm passionate about. So if you're hiring in any product management type roles, specifically in generative AI, please reach out.
Takes courage. Thank you. Anyone else want to give a quick pitch to themselves? I think I'm going to do a couple more and then off to the raffles. Yeah, come on up. 30 seconds though, quickly.
I'll do it in 10. So folks, again, I represent Huby, H-U-B-Y, it's from Hub. And we are expanding our pre-launch team. So whether you are in marketing, community development, product manager, product designer, or a developer, we're looking for everyone. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. One more person, quickly. Come on up.
Hey, my name is Joel. This is my first time to one of these events. I'm a software engineer. I just gave my 2 weeks at my job last week, so my last day is on Monday, so I'm about to be unemployed. I'm going to take some time for some, self-development, career development, which is why I'm here. I want to learn a bit more about these systems and get more experience. My work experience, I've worked at Amazon for 6.5 years. It was my first job out of college. I've mainly worked in IoT-related systems and AWS systems. I worked on Alexa for 2 years on the computer vision Echo Show devices. So that's my main experience, and I'm just looking for opportunities and cool projects.
Thank you. Are we all done? Yeah. All right. That's great. Oh, we have one more guy. Come on, quickly, quickly. The people are impatient.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anuj. I'm an ex-fintech/AI product manager. Been in a couple of startups from Series A to pre-IPO, doing fintech payments, everything related to that. Recently ran a crypto/AI company for 6 months. Didn't make it anywhere, so now looking for cool people to join, ideally some Series A to Series D kind of startup. Yeah, can talk about product management, fintech, payments, AI, anything related to that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I got everybody.